Hello, and welcome to Campus Nightly. Tonight, we will be covering the tragic murder of Charlie Kirk, an update on Seton Hall sports with Matthew Miller, the approaching New Jersey wildfire season, and the note President Trump allegedly sent to Jeffrey Epstein. All that and more. We also have an interview with Seton Hall's new audio production professor, Dr. Andy Stuhl. I'm Justin Del Valle, and this is Campus Nightly. To begin our night, Turning Point USA founder and notable political commentator Charlie Kirk has been assassinated at 31. Kirk was hosting an event at Utah Valley University, where he was then fatally shot. The FBI has identified the shooter as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, who was turned in by his parents. Robinson has been arrested on suspicion of aggravated murder, felony discharge of a weapon causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice. So far, no motive has been given. President Trump himself confirmed that Kirk passed away on Wednesday, hours after he had been hospitalized. Turning Point USA is a political organization that aims to educate and encourage young conservatives to get involved with local and national government. Kirk's murder follows the increase in political violence across the country. Here at Campus Nightly and Shoe TV, we'd like to emphasize the power of a differing opinion. Politics should never, in any instance, resort to violence. We are sending our thoughts and prayers to his family. We will be right back after this break. Please stay tuned.
As one of America's leading Catholic universities, Seton Hall is creating graduates who are ready for anything.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to work in the ICU.
To work in the big leagues.
To be a leader.
To teach special ed. To make my mark.
To volunteer in Micronesia.
To improve health around the world.
To get my master's.
I'm ready to make a difference.
To spread smiles.
To help others.
I'm ready for anything.
Seton Hall. Imagine what great minds can do.
Women's volleyball has been going strong this week, beating Central Connecticut University in 3 sets, beating St. Peter's in 4 sets. Freshman Sadie Reek has carried her team to several victories and has been named the MVP. She leads the team in kills, points, and scoring plays, paving the way for a promising future. Alongside her is another competitive junior, Senna Roberts-Navarro, who's also a top scorer. The team's record doesn't take their home court advantage for granted, though. That said, they are currently 3-3, looking to defeat Washington State at the Harvard Invitational this weekend. In women's soccer, the Pirates suffered their first defeat of the season in a 3-1 loss to NJIT on Sunday. Both teams faced pressure on the field, with NJIT scoring a goal right before halftime. They followed up with 2 additional goals, leaving the Pirates with their first loss of the season. On Wednesday, Seton Hall faced Wagner College and ended the game in a scoreless draw. Despite the score, the team put up a good fight, with freshman goalie Kate Kleinsmith making the most of her collegiate debut, executing 6 saves. These efforts should help in ensuring the Pirates a good game against Lehigh University. Meanwhile, in men's soccer, the team fought hard in their recent game against Sacred Heart Pioneers on Thursday. The Pirates battled back and forth with notable moments from Teal Koshwa and Aiden Tilsney, who worked together to score their first goal for the team. Though moments later, Sacred Heart was able to tie up the game for a brief moment until Seton Hall's Hugo Gabori struck offensively, advancing Seton Hall 2-1. With the clock ticking down, Sacred Heart once again in the top 10 minutes of the match, ending the draw 2-2. They are pacing for a tough fight against Fairleigh Dickinson here on campus this Sunday. Reporting for Shoe TV, I'm Matthew Miller. Back to you, Justin.
Thank you, Matthew. Wildfire season has begun early in New Jersey. Last week, a wildfire broke out in Passaic County, with officials saying that the wildfire spread across 160 acres of land. Wow. The New Jersey Forest Fire Service has claimed that no homes or structures were threatened by the fire. The typical fall fire season usually runs from mid-October to Thanksgiving, but this year it began early due to persisting droughts across northern New Jersey. Officials say that we can help prevent wildfires by disposing flammable materials around our homes, trim trees and bushes, gather safety supplies in case of a wildfire, and keeping up with your local news, i.e. Campus Nightly, and weather reports regarding air quality.
Was it rolling?
Oh yeah, that was great.
Next, all eyes are on one straight inked line. The Wall Street Journal has published a letter to Jeffrey Epstein they claim was written by President Trump. They obtained the letter through the new unsealed Epstein documents from the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee. The letter was part of a 50th birthday album compiled for the late sex offender and financier Epstein. The president has refuted claims that he wrote this letter, claiming that the signature was forged. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement that, quote, "It's very clear President Trump did not draw this picture, and he did not sign it," end quote. The president has sued the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion, claiming that the story was, quote, "false, malicious, and defamatory," end quote. We'll return after the break with an interview with the professor that's bringing audio production back to Seton Hall. Right after this.
Great drive fuels the leaders of tomorrow and today. Great vision paves the way for a brighter future. Great ambition goes places, moving onward and upward. Great empathy finds strength in kindness and in each other, working together to create something bigger than they ever imagined. Great minds can change the world, and great minds start at Seton Hall.
Welcome back. We're joined tonight here at Campus Nightly with Professor Stuhl. Nice to meet you, Professor.
Thanks for having me.
Very nice to meet you. Now, what are you the professor of?
I am an assistant professor in the Visual and Sound Media program here in the College of Human Development, Culture, and Media.
Brilliant. All right. Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about the audio industry? What brought you in?
Yeah, I'd say I got into sound and working with audio kind of through experiments with making videos with friends in high school, and then I was a big music fan, into indie rock, and became aware of the role that radio and college radio specifically had in launching certain artists' careers. Started doing a lot of work in college radio as an undergraduate student, and so that's where a lot of my interest has been located, in that sort of non-commercial community radio area.
That's brilliant. So your sound production has really been deep-rooted from music to start, right?
Yeah, music has always played a part, even as I've kind of gone into researching and covering the culture and history of non-musical sound as well. I think there's a lot of kind of cross-pollination, especially when you get into the sort of experimental world.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intersectionalism when it comes to audio production. It's really brilliant what you're teaching here, sir. And I just wanted to ask, since audio technology is evolving so much over the years, with podcasts, with short movies now being posted on YouTube, I mean, what advice would you give to anyone who might want to use audio production for, say, something amateur, like something they just want to shoot that day?
Yeah, in terms of advice, don't wait to get your hands on simple tools even. And the biggest skill you can acquire is not specific to any medium even, because audio applies a lot of the same tips and tricks and workflows apply across a wide array of media. Sound is critical to a lot of media. And the number one skill is just listening, is like listening actively and expansively, noticing what other producers are doing, listening to, if you're a podcast or radio producer, listening to what music producers are doing,
right.
Because so there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of kind of inspiration flows across those different categories.
Brilliant. Okay. Could you explain just the difference between good audio and bad audio? You know, not specific towards music or videotape, just in general, in your definition.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear TV producers like yourself asking this question. You know, audio is easy to overlook, to mix metaphors there for many media, but it is something I think of. The same thing goes for infrastructure. There's a sort of line in infrastructure studies that we only notice infrastructures like the electrical grid, right, at the moments that they break down, at the moments that something bad is happening. Same is kind of true of audio within an audiovisual medium like film or TV. We notice bad production. We don't necessarily notice when good audio is flowing along nicely. And I think if there's one key quality that you could boil it down to, is the energy of the soundtrack consistent from moment to moment, and does it complement and resonate with the energy of the overall production?
That's fantastic. All right, just a personal question, just so anyone who would like to take this class could know you a little more about why you got into studio production, to the crux of it. You know what I mean? What movie would you say, or music, what song would you say got you inspired? What started it all for you?
Yeah, it's hard to point back to one thing as kind of where my interest turned from maybe music towards the wanting to know the behind the scenes of the technology. But a big part was reading interviews with certain audio producers, Brian Eno and Steve Albini, people like these. Often the people who are in there in the studio working hands-on with these tools and working in collaboration with artists and musicians are the people who have the most interesting and most kind of ahead of the curve theorizations of sound. And so as someone who's come at the history and culture of audio and audio technology, that was a really compelling sort of stream of ideas for me.
All right, and this is what your curriculum follows for this particular class of audio production. What or if anything, what would that curriculum include?
Yeah, so the sound production and engineering course I'm teaching this semester. I'm also teaching more of a culture and theory course called Sound Technology and Culture. The production course, we're kind of in a transitional moment here in the concentration, the sound production concentration within visual and sound media is a major. So I'm looking at what has worked well in past years, but also trying to kind of put it to the students who are in that course, what projects are you already underway with, what interests do you have? And we have a number of folks who are into music, who are into working with sound in sports media, and then who are interested perhaps in sound design for other media like film and TV. So the curriculum is designed around getting hands-on quickly with, we're using field recorders, portable recorders this week, and for future projects to get out there and collect sounds, practice listening through a microphone to sort of shift yourself into the role of someone who collects and manipulates sound, and then seeing how far we can get in a variety of different genres and media in working with that. And
using sound as a tool creatively. I mean, I feel like that's something that you could really truly tap in with this class. And what would your opinions regarding that be? Like, what do you think is the most challenging project you've been on where you've wanted to use it creatively, but you felt so restricted?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, a lot of audio work is highly collaborative. And this is something we don't always see from the outside. I would say the majority of audio work is in support of a larger production that may be, an audiovisual medium, a TV or film production. Even podcasting now is kind of more and more expected to have a video component. So you're rarely kind of exercising, pure sort of unilateral creative directions, but that's actually much more generative, right? So I've worked, as a lot of my experience in college radio was working with live musicians in the studio, and I came to really value, just the sort of social skill set that's involved alongside the technical work of placing microphones, of respecting people's opinions about the technology, even when you don't agree with them, figuring out how to add your own kind of creative touches that are going to complement what an artist is looking to achieve.
Yeah, those intentions, those motivations. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Okay, what are you most excited for with audio production? I know we touched a little lightly on what your students would like to take away from this class, but what's your selling point? Why audio production?
Yeah, I think audio it comes into play across such a wide variety of media. There's also, and this is something I hope folks will take away from the other course, from the sound technology culture course. I think there are huge benefits to just kind of stretching our ears in a kind of cultural sense.
Of course.
And listening to the world around us, which is a highly technological and mediated world. With an ear towards those intentional, as you said, production choices that people are always making that often seem kind of automatic or obvious. So I hope that's one aspect that folks will take away. But also, this is a foundational skill across a wide variety of media. And one thing that's great here at Seton Hall, and that is a pretty rare situation these days, is you all have incredible momentum behind your student media productions, including Shoe TV here, as well as
we greatly
WSOU.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And so one thing that's exciting me right now is that I think there's an opportunity to sort of, for the academic side, to tap into what's working well there and what students are doing. And I'm really hopeful, and it's my intent that students with that kind of ongoing experience can come to these courses and find a kind of unique place in which to stretch out the kind of intellectual aspect of what they're doing.
Fantastic. A new, excited professor at Seton Hall. Let me tell you, Professor Stuhl, it's an honor. It's an honor to meet you. Thank you so much. I think I'm sold. I might take your class, audio production.
Hope to see you there.
Fantastic. Audio production. If you want to be heard, take his class. Professor Stuhl, everybody, thank you for joining us. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching. I am Justin Del Valle, and this is Campus Nightly. Good night.